This is Cutting Down the Nets, January 23rd. Let's walk through the schedule. First, little recap. We are sitting at 53.6% against the spread. I watched Stony Brook. Man, just handling Kevin's chili in the office those last minute or so. They had it down to 2 with like 45 seconds left and then immediately fouled. And then, shenanigans ensued. So, didn't work out. That's all right. Split the day. Lehigh kept her close to Colgate. But that's all Wednesday stuff. Let's move on that's all Monday stuff. Let's move on to Tuesday. So again, sorted by Paddy value. I'm going to go through the yellow games. I hate when Paddy spits out a bunch of favorites, but here we are. I've been using 3.5 points for home court this year. Typically, I used about 3.25. I bumped that up a little bit to try to shake so many road teams and stuff like that. This is kind of what has sorted out. So we will start with UAB Charlotte. Paddy has us at 10.5. Paddy's median's at 15.1. Shot quality has this a little above the spread. So at 4 points, there's some value, but some warning signs from a 3-point standpoint. So let's just pull up both teams and just kind of show you what's leading to that data. We'll start with UAB. We'll slide UAB over here. And we have a bad 3-point shooting team. Kind of struggling a little bit, maybe do some regression. Who knows? So they're shooting 30.9% for the year, 290th. I usually compare the 3-point percentage to the effective field goal. Like, are you really good at one and then really bad at the other, vice versa? If you can afford a shot quality subscription, you could certainly just check the regression stats. I can't. So, yeah. So this is UAB. But more concerned on the Charlotte side is you'll see a couple hot games here and there, but more on the defensive side. So a 2 for 14, a 5 for 25, a 1 for 17. They did get torched one of those games in between. But overall, how's that compare? So again, they're 64th in effective field goal percentage allowed, 41st in 3-point, 96th in 2-point, 41st in 3-point. So there's some risks there that they're a little above their skis from that standpoint. Looking at the matchup though, I don't see a whole lot. Turnovers look pretty neutral here. Looks like a rebounding edge for UAB. Again, the 3-point defense, is that a little spry? I don't know. So I don't like the late points, and that's kind of what that game looks like. So shot quality has it a little higher with the year-to-date stuff, but man, Paddy all over this one by a significant margin. Again, where that's coming from, my guess is these offensive outputs here on the Charlotte side. And then, again, the defense is going to correlate to the 3-point shooting. When they didn't limit a bunch of threes, they gave up 1.23 points per possession. So, there's obviously some risk there. So, not sure where I'll go there. Definitely in the pool. I don't know when I'll make that decision. Dayton at LaSalle. I've sat out, 5 Dayton winners in a row because I keep saying they play too slow. Like, they can't cover big numbers. And then, they start covering big numbers. So we'll pull up Dayton here, and you'll just see that prior to last game, I said, look, they just don't blow anybody out. You'll look through their wins, like even SIU Edwardsville, 16, got won by 3. Those are some tough games, though, Northwestern and St. John's and LSU. But even looking at some of the easier games, Troy, 12, Oakland, 14, Longwood, 9, Davidson, 13. So they've played a pretty tough schedule. So I'm like, they just can't blow people out. I don't know. Don't have them laying a big number. And then 34 spot on Rhode Island over the weekend. I did not play it because I was scared of the pace. Adjusted tempo 355th in the country. So looking at this matchup with LaSalle, again, Dayton doesn't do anything extremely well. Like, they don't force a lot of turnovers, 240th in turnovers forced. They protect the ball, yeah, somewhat, but not going to apply a lot of pressure to LaSalle here. On the rebounding side, awful defensive rebounding team, middling offensive rebound team. They do get to the free throw line. They do limit free throws, so they'll win that side of the equation. But how they're winning all these games, they just don't miss. Fourth in three-point shooting, whereas they're 51st in two-point shooting. So again, likely some regression there. So not jumping to lay points on the road with a team that is likely due some regression. So in the pool, but not sure. Air Force and UNLV, I just left this game alone, showing as a play for UNLV. Shot quality is there. It's just tough with the pace of this game. I'll just bring that up real quick. So the pace of this game, this is UNLV versus Air Force. I mean, 301st is UNLV, 358th is Air Force. So you have an extremely slow team in Air Force. Now, that's dangerous when they can force turnovers, where UNLV does protect the ball. But your danger is that, you turn over the ball and then 30 seconds go by and you're not scoring in those 30 seconds. But if they're going to kill clock and limit your possessions, it's hard to cover big numbers. And if you fall down, it's hard to not only make that back, but then also, actually cover, 13. Looking for 2 touchdowns here. But shot quality year to date, right in line with Paddy. Again, just pace concerns. So next up, a dream spot for Georgia Tech. They get Pitt right after the emotional win at Cameron Indoor. So yeah, that's attractive from a situational perspective, but I think that's where this stops being fun, in my opinion. So look, spot matters. Like, it really does. But Georgia Tech will not force any turnovers here. They will cough it up a little bit. Rebounding perspective, Georgia Tech okay, like pretty good, but massive strength of Pitt on keeping you off the glass, whereas crossing these up shows an advantage for Pitt. Fouls, roughly neutral. So, yeah, you're left with where's the advantage here? I think the advantage is all in situational spot. Catching a team after a big win like that is always good. Skipping over the orange, we'll look at the last two, Boise State and Fresno State. This is a tricky road spot for Boise State. So they just beat San Diego State at home, and now they travel to Fresno State, which is, not the toughest opponent. But just think emotionally, you just expended a lot of energy, big home crowd. Life's good, right? And Boise State's a good ball club. So the concern now is that they have to find that energy again on the road at an 8-10 team. Not the easiest to do. So this is where, on paper, looks pretty good. But the flip side of the Georgia Tech play, this is not a good situational spot for Boise State. However, unlike Georgia Tech, we do have some matchup advantages here. Fresno State does not protect the ball, and Boise State's okay there. Boise State, not the best ball protector, but Fresno not going to apply a lot of pressure there. They can keep Fresno off the glass. They should be okay, or at least kind of a median outcome there on the glass. Fouls, kind of even. Pace, iffy. 3-point D, likely above its skis, and do some regression there. They're 16th in 3-point D, but 189th in 2-point D. And then kind of the flip case for Fresno State. So I say this a lot as I go through these games. It may feel like I'm always telling you why not to bet it, but I think blindly betting Paddy has some advantages, but I get scared when there's like a 0-9 day. So yeah, about 54% on the year, but if you can avoid an 0-5 brick by being careful, I think that is important. So last game is Evansville, Northern Iowa. Both teams force a lot of threes, and both teams have very, very erratic 3-point outcomes. So some shaky ground there. So that's the yellow. So I would put in my pool, I'd put Charlotte in the pool. I'd put Dayton in the pool. Georgia Tech solely based on situational spot. And then talking out the other side of the mouth, Boise State ignoring situational spot, but they have some matchup advantages. So, yeah, I don't think there's a lot to love here, but I'm tired of sitting out winners. So I'm going to have to decide what to do here. And that's what it looks like for me. So I think it's helpful to talk through why I'm on something, why I'm not on something. Whether or not you look too much into the matchups and decide whether or not you're going to trust Paddy or not, I think it is important to know what led to the Paddy number more than just, matchup concerns. So if some weird stuff led to the Paddy number, like a big outlier in a recent game, that's more cause for concern than like, oh, I don't know if they'll get enough rebounds. Trust the efficiencies. I think we saw that this past weekend with Tulane and Memphis. It was like Tulane's going to get killed on the boards. Guess what? Tulane gets killed on the boards every single game, and their efficiency that leads to that factors that in. Like there's still a X 105% adjusted offensive efficiency, knowing they're going to get killed on the boards. So getting killed on the boards doesn't really kill their efficiency. So yeah, I think you've seen examples like that on the flip side where if a team is very efficient because they don't turn the ball over and then all of a sudden like face an opponent that turns them over a lot, that's more concerning than, hey, the thing they suck at, they're going to suck at in this game. So a little narrative there, a little long-winded way of saying I don't know what I'm playing here, but hopefully it's helpful to walk through the games. One other thing I'll just throw out there, this Kentucky-South Carolina game is on my radar. Starting to buy into the South Carolina vibe going on right now. They've shown up in some tough places. They now get a home game. We're at 4.5. Maybe, just maybe, we can get like a 5.5. Who knows? So this is Cutting Down the Nets. Good luck, everybody.